All right, let's talk about potential suspects, shall we?
D.B. Cooper.
Captain Scott's involved.
Nah.
He wanted back on the plane. He had a chance to run, and he didn't run.
He didn't. Nah. He was just watching out for Tina.
We're going to leave the best one
So
for
he
last.
loved Tina. It was a love triangle.
Maybe he's just a nice guy.
He couldn't leave Tina behind.
Maybe he's just a nice guy.
I read a thing about Florence that she had been like suspended because of she had gained weight.
Oh.
And back in those days, they wanted, the flight attendants to be a certain size, look a certain way, and all that. And so if you couldn't keep up with that, you had the possibility of being suspended. Can you believe that?
That's
wild. That's
crazy. So Tina's disgruntled employee?
That was Florence.
Yeah. But she's not getting any money from the airline. It's from the bank, so it wouldn't serve that I'm going to clear her. She's going to clear.
I also, going back to the money, that the banks at that time already had a stash of money that was, we talked about they'd already accumulated the numbers.
Uh-huh.
So they have a stash. I don't know how much in there for instances that happen, just like a hijacking that they go to. And so that's why they were able to get the money as fast as they were.
Categorized.
And still had the numbers categorized at the time. So that made sense.
So
but
sitting
that's
over
kind of
in
weird.
the right-hand corner is like, we already calculated. We already got those bills.
That's our stolen money right there.
Yeah.
Loss prevention says, that's it. That's your $200,000 for the year.
And what qualifies something as a hijacking? Because like when I think hijack, I think like you take over the plane. Like you make your way to the cockpit. You're in there getting rid of the pilot.
I think if you don't have to take care or get rid of the pilot, but if you're in control of the plane, that doesn't mean you're steering it.
Yeah, you're deciding when it lands.
You're calling the shots.
You're deciding if it stays in the air.
So once that happens, how many years in jail for hijacking?
A lot.
If nothing else, you don't get money, you don't get a ransom.
I don't know that I want that in my search history, so I'm not going to look it up.
That ain't funny, does it?
Is it worse than robbing a bank?
Surely it is, because
probably have more lives endangered.
You're endangering more people.
But I'm sure it depends on if you use a weapon or not. Everything's worse if you use a weapon. So you think about him. He didn't. All he had was just a bomb, not a gun.
That's not a weapon. Wow.
Mistake.
All right, our first suspect, Sheridan Peterson. A more under-the-radar suspect through the years has been Sheridan Peterson, who fell under suspicion within a week of the skyjacking, but wasn't interviewed by the FBI until decades later. That makes no sense. How crazy is that?
Said, this might be a person of interest, but we'll wait.
Put that on the back burner. He was a former Boeing employee, worked in the department that wrote the flight manual for the Boeing 727 jet that was hijacked.
He sounds probable.
A familiarity that might explain how the perpetrator knew the aircraft had back stairs he could open and jump out.
Okay. Who else we got?
He was an established skydiver.
Oh.
So that takes another thing. And he was a smoke jumper in Montana at one time. He also worked at a skydive center in the early 60s. So he could be
checking some boxes.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Robert Rackstraw, excuse me. Back in the 1970s, pilot and former paratrooper. He had a whole lot going on. Grand theft of $75,000 worth of bad checks and the possible murder of his stepfather were just a few of the infractions for which authorities nabbed him. After being acquitted of the murder charge, he saw fit to fake his own death in 1978 by faking a false Mayday call from a rented plane in Northern California. He spent 2 years in prison for check fraud and theft of an aircraft. And then some other things that led him to believe that he might be involved, but they don't know.
He sounds probable, too.
Kenneth Christensen.
But he got busted a lot.
Yeah.
Like D.B. Cooper seemed in a little more polished.
Yeah, this guy was just out there just doing whatever it sounds like.
So he was just being rambunctious.
And let's get rid of him. He's off the list.
Kenneth
FBI, don't worry about it.
Christensen had a more direct link to the Cooper incident. He had worked for Northwest, the hijacked airline, as a mechanic, flight attendant, and purser. What's a purser?
Carries purses.
Somebody checks people's purses.
Kenneth's brother, Lyle, claims that when Kenneth was on his deathbed in 1994, he said, "There's something you should know, but I cannot tell you."
In the
Isn't that what you want somebody to tell you on their deathbed?
Oh, ultimate cliffhanger.
Why?
Jeez.
Kenneth had been a military paratrooper the year after the D.B. Cooper hijacking. Despite being on a modest flight attendant salary, he bought a house with cash.
Ooh.
So that was a red flag.
Yeah, but houses back in 1970 cost 3 grapes and a blueberry.
Man.
So not like he had
Could they not have checked that
$200,000.
money?
I know. They would have they would have called him if that was the case.
Yeah,
if
I
he
think
bought it
you're
with
right.
cash.
Yeah.
They got the serial numbers.
All right, let's see.
Skip to the good one.
Skip to the good one.
Yeah, the good one. The one that was it.
Here we go.
I know they had a good
the
one.
children of convicted skyjacker Richard McCoy II believe their dear old dad may have been D.B. Cooper, the notorious and notoriously unidentified central figure in 1971's unsolved skyjacking that we always talk about.
Did he skyjack another time too?
It was afterwards.
Yeah.
After 71, he did it again.
You always listen to this next. Just months after the Cooper incident, McCoy was convicted of an incredibly similar skyjacking
Oh.
that also included a parachute jump. His children, what is her name?
Shantae.
Shantae?
Yeah.
Or Shanty. I like Shanty.
I like Shanty too.
Well,
You want to do a Shanty real quick?
well, she and Richard III, otherwise known as Rick, I'm just reading what it says, have long thought the clues added
Rich?
up.
I like
Said
Rich better.
Yeah. They may now have evidence to back up their suspicions.
Uh-oh.
They had kept quiet out of confidentiality for their mother, Karen, who they believe was potentially complicit in both crimes. But as both parents are now deceased, the opportunity arose for the siblings to come forward with their suspicions.
Oh.
They seem to have have hard evidence, a modified parachute that they believe was used in the daring escape. The FBI.
I told you he kept the parachute.
The
Couldn't leave it laying
FBI
out there.
now has the parachute and harness that were once tucked away in a storage shed on family property in North Carolina, along with a harness and a skydiving logbook.
Ooh, Spencer said they went to the East Coast. Did you know this, Spencer? I done messed my microphone up.
Did you?
Sorry.
So this is the first real movement from the FBI on the case since they stopped looking at it in 2016. But let me see. After receiving the new evidence, the FBI followed up with the family and searched the property where the parachute was stored for. They searched for 4 hours with more than a dozen agents. The unique alterations to the parachute may hold the key to the new evidence's value in the 50-plus-year-old case.
Did they turn over any money?
No.
Money.
And
That money's
then,
long gone.
What'd they do with it?
let me...
Took it over the ocean, overseas somewhere.
Right.
They have a house in
Exchanged
Cancun.
Okay.
So let's get back to McCoy, their dad,
Yeah.
what he did. So on April 7, 1972, a man, which was him, traveled under a fake name, boarded a Newark, Los Angeles flight. Shortly after taking off, he handed a note to one of the flight attendants.
Sounds familiar.
The note demanded $500,000 and...
200,000 was just his
Warm up.
Yeah.
warm up, get the foot in the door.
Yeah, that was practice money. That's play money. He also asked for 4 parachutes. If these were not furnished, the man, a seasoned skydiver and helicopter pilot, this is what they found out afterwards, would bomb the plane. The 727 landed and refueled. The hijacker exchanged passengers for cash and parachutes.
There you go.
And en route to the next destination, he jumped from the rear stairs to freedom.
Sounds exactly like what we spent the
But
last
he
2
did it
episodes.
during the day.
He said, that night jump was stupid. I'm
And he
never
got
doing
caught.
it again.
He done lost his
So,
page.
yeah, give me a second. Give me a second. Easy now, easy. Found it. This hijacking occurred less than 5 months after the D.B. Cooper incident, leading many to suspect, well, of course, that the same culprit may have been responsible. The perpetrator of the April crime, which was Richard McCoy Jr., was convicted of air piracy. What's the difference? Or is that what they call it if they're going to convict you?
Air piracy?
Yeah.
It's not in the water. It's in the air. What's the difference between air
I'm
piracy
talking
and
about the
water?
piracy part. And he received a 45-year prison sentence. 45 years. Well, how come he's not still in prison
Because he's dead.
before that? I'm glad you asked. I'll tell you. So on August
He broke
10th,
out.
1974, however,
He used a note.
he and some fellow inmates hijacked. They like this hijacking
Man.
thing. What'd they hijack?
The prison.
A garbage truck, and escaped their Pennsylvania penitentiary. When the FBI finally tracked McCoy down in Virginia 3 months later, a shootout left him dead. They went to his house. He was there. He had a gun. They got in a shootout. And they killed him.
Boom.
D.B. Cooper no more. Gone.
You think that's him? You think?
I think it is.
That was the D.B. Cooper.
It's got to be.
Well, this is. Think about this. All right, they catch him. He's sentenced. Oh, hey, Tina, come
Florence.
here. Hey, Florence. Alice. Hey, Captain Scott, come here. Let me show you this guy.
Is this the guy? I don't know.
I don't
That
know.
stack of 20s is making my vision real blurry.
It was Richard McCoy.
Oh, all right.
All right, so that's it.
D.B. Cooper.
That's a cool name though. If you're gonna hijack a plane, Richard McCoy.
I thought D.B.
The
Cooper was
real
pretty
McCoy.
cool.
Yeah.
Even though that was an
But
accent.
if you ever get caught, McCoy's a pretty cool name.
There you go.
But if you got away with it, and $200,000, like I said, that's $1.5 million in today's market.
If you got away with it,
Oh, he spent that so
can do
fast.
it. You think you can do it again?
He said, "Oh, that was easy
He went to the casino.
in Reno."
Yeah. And he's like, I got to go back and get more.
Oh,
I gambled
man.
it all away.
I think you feel like you can get away with it. If you got away with it the first time, you're overconfident the second time.
But you're
I
still.
bet that little farm in North Carolina was bought with some of that money.
You think so?
Cash is king.
And nobody ever turned that money in there. They never used it.
I mean, after 8 years, if some random guy gives you cash in that day and time, you're not thinking about, let me check the serial number on these 20s real fast.
But
know
if
what I'm
it,
saying?
And
so,
without it being computerized and all money going through some kind of
Right.
thing, it's moving around a lot.
so if McCoy was Cooper, how did he lose $5,800?
I'm telling you, when he jumped out, the satchel flapped open and $5,800 fell out.
Just $5,800.
He caught it after that. He had it in his little front pocket. I'm telling you.
That's why he had to do the second one, because all he had left was in the satchel.
He's so
he lost the
confident.
first one. He's like, I pulled it all off. I just lost the money on the jump. That's a theory.
So it's
The
either
money's still out
him.
there.
It's either, and I don't, there's two.
Or either when
unless he's a
when
copycat.
When
Hold
the
up.
door opened. When the door opened the first time, there was just enough pressure to pull out $5,800.
I don't think he looked like Cooper. I don't, because I would think that if he did, that they'd say, hey, that's him. Throw him in jail. So I think he's a copycat. I think he did exactly.
Were there a lot of these details we're discussing, were they made public in 71? Were they
Oh, I'm sure.
the
yeah,
note,
I
the
would.
bomb, the plan?
Yeah, they had a press conference right after this happened,
Okay.
and all of them are sitting there.
So
the
it's possible
pilots and the
it's-
flight attendants
it's
and the press.
possible it's
So I'm
copycat.
sure. Yeah.
That sounds probable too.
But would you really want to? Hey, I want to do that.
The
Jump out
exact
of my-
same way.
Yeah. But I'm asking for more money.
And I'm doing it in the daytime
Yeah.
because that night jump's what killed him.
Tell you.
So do you think? So what is that? $4 or $5 million if he asked for 500,000? Then, do you really think if you hijack a plane, they're just gonna like, oh yeah, hand over that kind of money now?
I don't know.
They did the first time.
Apparently they tried to the
But
second time.
but it's different age now. People think differently.
Now you're talking about
Oh,
if we
now?
tried to
Ain't
do
no
it.
way.
No,
Ain't
they
no
don't
way.
give you the money.
They don't
Yeah.
care. They'll say blow up the plane. Do it. Dare you.
The air marshal that's on there shoots you as soon as you stand up to do something. He just
I think that's a bunch of hype too.
what air
You-
marshals?
Yeah. I don't think. Do you think there's one on every flight?
Oh, I don't
Ain't
know
no
about
way.
air.
Ain't no
I don't
way.
know about
No.
every flight, but I do know an air marshal personally. So I do know there are real ones.
Ooh.
So
They're
I
not all
know an
fake.
air marshal.
They're not like astronauts.
How can you tell? What do they look like?
Have you been on a plane with him? Is he DB Cooper?
Does he wear a badge?
That's right. Yes, to all of them. And he landed on the moon one time.
Well,
He's old.
he's a space marshal now.
Did you know the crew's not even supposed to know that you're an air marshal?
Yeah, I did know that they're pretty.
Of course you
hush-hush,
do.
but they.
So do you just dress in casual clothes and jump on a flight and just sit there
Yeah.
and
You really do.
Yeah.
hey, stop smoking?
No,
You're under arrest.
you're really only there for the hijack. That's all you're there for.
Okay,
I saw.
Like you let.
that'd be a chill job.
I mean, you're not.
I mean,
you're not
until
trying to
something
save
happens.
the airline any money. You're not trying to do anything other than if somebody does something this. But and I imagine it probably depends on the flight path and where things are headed and what it's near as to whether. That's personal opinion. I don't have any inside track to that.
I thought that'd be a fun job. It'd be a kind of chill job.
If you listen,
most part,
if you
until
listen
something
to
goes
the
down.
podcast Locked In that have you listened to that anymore?
Yeah, I can't stand
There's-
it. I can't get with his voice though.
I know,
It
yeah.
throws me off.
Well, if he's listening to this,
Sorry,
you know,
bud.
Yeah, there's a podcast. We got in contact with this guy because I thought we might interview him, but he went to prison. You
For
know,
fraud.
for fraud, not for like killing somebody.
Just fraud.
Yeah, just fraud. Nothing bad.
He was just running a casino when he was 18.
Yeah. So basically, he interviews people that's been to prison and they tell their story and everything. It's like very popular and all that.
Yeah.
So
Very interesting to listen to.
And so I emailed him and he responded back. But and I was letting him know that we listened because we heard it at the same time. You got it off of like Facebook or TikTok or
TikTok,
something, and
yeah.
I saw it on Instagram, so I started listening. Long story short, he had an air marshal on there, and he was telling his story. And the thing about it, when you were talking about it, and just if there's a hijacking, there was a guy that was causing problems on the flight, and he really did not need or want to do anything to help out because he didn't want to blow his cover.
Yeah.
So, because he really needs to be there for like really, really important stuff and not that. I guess if it got to a point to where he needed to do whatever, he would, but no.
That's what I'm gonna
He's
say.
just going to
like,
let
with
things happen.
The age of cameras and stuff. I bet you can't. If you get recorded and it makes it out on to the public,
No,
media,
your job
done.
your job changes
You're like-
immediately.
You're riding a desk now.
You're a TSA employee now.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen. If I'm going to be popular, I'm going to be popular for taking somebody down for hijacking. I'm not going to get the guy that was just disgruntled about his seating arrangement.
There's a good movie that's out that I watched over the Christmas holidays. It's called Carry On. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's.
I watched it.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's a really good movie.
It is.
It's pretty
Is that
cool.
Jason Bateman in it? Is that the one you're talking
I
about?
have no idea who these people are in this movie, but
Is it the guy that was the main talker that had, not the
Yeah,
guy with the
with
earpiece, but it was
the other guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
control it, yeah.
it's a good movie. You should watch it.
All right.
It's about kind of-
Hijacking?
not necessarily hijacking, but
It's one of the TSA agents. He, long story short, he ends up, there's like a note or whatever, there's an earpiece. He's made to put that earpiece in. Now there's a guy telling him what to do. He's got to get this thing on board this plane, and he's going to use that
TSA agent to get it through.
Okay.
because it's not going to pass through the X-ray machine.
Okay.
So
All right.
it's very
It's
interesting.
good. It's a good movie.
Serious thriller, comedy, action.
Not comedy.
Not comedy. It's pretty serious.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
But it's a good action movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some bang bangs and some
But back to the air marshal.
and some stabbings. You know.
How does that
Was it
work?
like a bang, pow, cow?
So
Sorry.
I when I listened to that podcast, he explained it all, and I don't remember now. But how do you think it works? Like, so you're working 40 hours a week, but you're an air marshal, and you're on a long flight. So are you just hotel roomed up wherever you're at for the night, and then you're flying wherever the next
I
day?
guess
So who is the air marshal employed by? It's not by the airlines.
No.
So it's by the FFA. The FAA, not FFA.
I guess so.
future farmers of America are paying for it.
air marshals up there. We're gonna look over them crops.
I believe in the future of farming with a faith born not of words but of deeds.
I used to know that. I used to know that all the time.
Because I was a FFA.
You were all
Were you all in FFA? Were you like the?
That's
I
how
was
you
a
got-
land judger. I was.
that's how you got into riding horses.
I had some friends that did
riding
that.
bulls.
Yep.
We did some of the. I had an ag class, and we did some of that land judging stuff. It was pretty cool.
You got to see if the
Where you look up, you see how tall the tree is with this little thing.
yeah, you got to know if the soil's permeable or
Yeah.
not. Yeah, grade modeling, all kinds of stuff.
We did
Hey,
some
I can
tree
tell-
identification. I don't know any of
Look.
them now, but
If y'all hang out with me more, I'll tell y'all a lot of useless information.
it's good stuff.
I know a little bit about a lot,
A little bit about a lot.
just very
And a
little.
lot about nothing.
That sounds like a country music lyric right there, don't it? Oh,
All right.
okay to be itty bitty.
That concludes our 3-part series of DB Cooper.
hey, that's our first 3-part series.
Yeah.
Is it?
Way to go.
That was long. I think
Yeah.
if time allowed,
Favorite episode was the ending.
yeah,
My favorite episode's the next one.
I would like to release them like every other day, for 1 week, and not be like every week. That's the only thing if we did a 3-part again, but time doesn't allow us to do that.
Oh, I
It's
know.
just too much. It's too much.
I'm tired as it is now.
We'll go back to again. How did we do 3 episodes a week at one point? Didn't we do 3? Wasn't it 3?
We recorded them all
Yeah.
in one day.
That's right. We were cranking those joke cards.
I mean, the secret's out. The secret's been out.
I can't.
The secret's been out, Jody. When I don't change sweatshirts, the secret's out. I don't wear the same clothes every other day.
Kind of like episode 2 and 3 with us. Or this.
Oh,
I mean,
goodness.
sometimes it happens in the same day. It is what it is.
That's unbelievable, though, to do 3 a
No,
week.
we were cranking some out early on.
It's called We Had the Passion and the Drive early on.
Did we?
Hey, next episode, what we're gonna do? Let's just do a free for all.
No direction.
I was going
no
to say,
direction.
watch yourself before you say what we're going to do.
probably
Because
gonna-
we've got to do it.
We're probably going to end up
Don't
talking
say
about
something
food.
and then we're not doing
No,
it.
I was gonna say let's go any direction we want to. Next
Probably going to
time.
end up with food. Is what
All right.
is my guess.
That's your prediction.
That's my prediction.
We'll start talking about something random and bring it to food.
It'll end up at food.
That's every conversation we
It
ever
might
have.
it might come back to DB Cooper because we talked 3 episodes.
That's
on it,
right.
and so that's fresh on our brains.
I think I'm DB Coopered out. I have watched way too much stuff and listened to too many. I'm telling you, I think I'm old school because I wrote.
Somebody's thinking you're gonna hijack a plane. Here in a
Listen,
minute.
Amanda thinks I'm crazy because I sat in one room, nothing going on. I've got my earbuds in, a notebook, and I'm sitting here like this listening, and I'm writing down as I'm listening.
like an assignment.
Yeah, and then you're on me like couldn't you have printed that out?
Well, you were complaining that you couldn't read your own handwriting. I was like, well, you should have typed it up there, buddy.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I did not get online to get this information. I could have very easily printed this stuff off and just read verbatim, but no, I got 2 or 3 different sources. So give me a break.
You did good, Jody. Thank you
I
for
don't know
your.
about that, but
Hey, I enjoyed it. I learned
It was
something new.
fun.
I didn't know most of the facts about DB Cooper. I did not know.
I'm glad you found that. And you didn't. You didn't even know the name, right? Because you're young though. So
No, I never heard about it until you sent it 3 months ago, and then I dove into it then.
it ain't been 3 months.
It's been like 2.5 weeks
He's
ago.
just mad because we didn't do it the first time I said we was going to
It
do
was
it.
literally at least a month
It
ago.
was before Christmas.
It was at least a month
before
ago.
Christmas. So
January's over. What are we talking about?
Listen,
It's Valentine's Day now.
listen,
he's rounded up, buddy. Round up.
I get that from my father. Sorry.
Oh goodness, I do too. I round time
It's
up.
just might as well.
you round way up.
At
You
6:15,
got a
I
weird.
call it 7. Like right now, I'm saying it's 7 o'clock. We're wasting time.
What time is it now? It's getting close to 7.
7 o'clock
Yeah.
in the morning on a Monday or
Yeah.
a Thursday, whichever one you're listening to. This
We'll put
one
it
on.
this way: it's dark outside.
That's right.
Yeah.
It is.
And cold.
All right, y'all got anything?
Nope.
Hey, check us out on YouTube. Same name, 3 Wheels No Direction. If you want to see our beautiful faces,
That's right.
especially Spencer, because he faces the camera the whole time.
That's right.
I like looking at you and not looking at the camera.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I like staring
Well,
into the camera, making eye contact with
How about
viewers.
that? I'd rather look at you than look at the camera.
I don't move much. I've noticed that after you called me out on it. I'm just kind of stationary.
You're a statue.
That's right.
But I don't move much either, I don't think.
Somebody's watching it muted.
I
They
feel like
can't
I'm
tell if
always
it's paused or if it's live.
I have noticed
They don't
something.
know.
If nobody's noticed, we got you a new,
Yeah, look at there.
The
Old
mic stand.
Old 1970s. is
but you
gone.
can't keep your hands off of it.
I
I've
know.
noticed. You're like
seems like a rock star.
You're like a rock star.
I'm gonna tie a scarf to it. I'm gonna have my scarf hanging from it. So,
Do that one more time.
you may start carrying it. You may start carrying it like this.
Oh, that's funny.
All right.
Oh, good. All right, listen to our next episode when you might hear Spencer say,
Grief.
"Oh my goodness."